Warriors unite, along with Aaron and Frosty. We're taking flight, tune in, level up, turn the quest. In the world of action, we're the best. Welcome to the Town Portal Podcast.
Why, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the brand new established Town Portal Podcast. My name is Aaron, the owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG, and next to me is my co-host Frosty. Say hello, Frosty.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well today and ready for a nice last Epoch podcast.
That's right. And right under me, because we did that thing where like, we're like above the guest, like looking down at them, is senior developer and co-founder of EHG, the studio behind Last Epoch, my favorite game, Mike. Say hello, sir.
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
And today's show, we have multiple scenes set up. We might have a Kickstarter video set up. We've got lots of questions. We've got Mike in the hot seat. Hopefully you all enjoy the show that we prepared. We're going to go for about 90 minutes. Now, 11th Hour Games has also provided me and Frosty with 2 leaks, teasers, whatever you want to call it, where we're going to show off something coming for Cycle 2 that has not been released. Also, at the end of the podcast, we are going to draw a Last Epoch game key. It's just a thank you to everybody that came out today. Sound good? You guys ready? Frosty,
I'm ready.
Mike with your first question.
All right, Mike. This one's going to be a kind of a softball here. So I know Cycle 2 is coming out July 9th. What would you say for people who've been living under a rock are the highlights of Cycle 2?
Yeah, the big I guess exciting thing for people who maybe have played and are looking to come back. The pinnacle boss that we're adding into the game. It's our first fixed difficulty, like non-corruption scale, non-infinitely scaling boss that is meant to be a real challenge for players who are playing in the end game, and some other little end game sprinkles in there that we'll expand on a little later.
Quick follow-up on that.
Ahead.
Sorry, Aaron. What are the rewards for killing this boss?
Okay, so that's something I can't actually tell you yet.
Okay.
They're not fixed yet. We have we've got some stuff there, but it's not that's not 100% locked in yet. So it's
But there are rewards that are boss specific, which means you can only get this item from killing this pinnacle boss.
Yes. It's not fixed yet. That's the problem. So like that's the current plan, but like, it's subject to change still.
Okay.
We've got another couple weeks before a full lock.
When you're talking about the difficulty of this fight, you talked about on one of your Friday streams that the new pinnacle boss will be more of a challenge than Tier 4 Julra. Now, in Tier 4 Julra, if you have one of these OP builds, you can go in there and you could kill Julra prior to it even getting an attack off. Yep. Will this pinnacle boss have phases where it doesn't matter how good your build is, you can't kill it in a second?
I mean, I think if you could deal infinite damage in the first second of the fight, it would die instantly.
Okay.
But there's enough health and enough changes in the adaptive boss dynamics that if there are any builds that can kill it that fast, we've really made a mistake. There should be a significant, even like we were taking builds that were able to do that to T4 Julra, and they were not able to. Those same builds were not able to do that to the pinnacle boss that I almost slipped up and said the name of in the very first moments of this stream.
Just go ahead. It's fine. just go ahead. You don't have to worry about it. Like, it's totally fine. But this fight
I only get to keep doing these things if I don't do those mistakes, though.
I guess that's true. But this fight will have a skill element to it, correct? As far as
yeah, I think the important thing here is that if you have a really there's boss mechanics that you can engage with that if you choose to ignore will make the fight incredibly difficult. and possibly impossible if your build isn't good enough. So like it's kind of the same way with every boss fight though. Like if your build is strong enough, you can start to ignore individual mechanics. Like let's talk like go back to real basics here. And basically any boss fight, they've got like a regular melee attack.
Yeah.
And if your health regen is just enough to withstand that melee attack, you can just ignore that as a mechanic. You don't have to like move out of the way of a basic melee attack because your build is strong enough.
Yeah, if you have
And the
enough
same thing
leech, you could just sit there and leech and not have to worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that same sort of thing applies to some of the boss mechanics that are there that you could, if your build was strong enough, just ignore. But you're gonna need some, like we're talking really strong builds before you're gonna even start to ignore those mechanics. And most people that are facing this boss when they're first like getting through the like getting to it early on in a cycle, those people that are racing to fight that boss initially when we're early on in a cycle drop, because your gear's not gonna be that, oh, I farmed for 1,000 hours to get this gear at this point. You're gonna be engaging with all those mechanics at the start for sure. Once we're like late in the cycle, like we're 3 months down the road into this fight being out, and people have like the best in slot gear they can possibly get reasonably. Like you're gonna start seeing faster and faster kills as builds get a little more finely tuned.
And you'll start finding strategy for the fight, right? You'll see how to win, how to do this, do that, all that. Okay.
Yeah.
Frosty, do you have anything else on the new Pinnacle boss coming?
I think that's about it. But I got a next question here.
Okay.
So I hear there's new random encounters in Cycle 2. So will this be a huge monster attacking you, a bunch of monsters? Will it happen while leveling up? Or is it only endgame? And should hardcore players be concerned about this?
So that's a good question.
Yeah, great way to phrase it. So we're the primary one that I think you're talking about here is going to feel very similar to how we've presented exiled mages in the past. So that mechanic where there's this opt-in aspect of it, so you can choose to fight more things if you want, and it's this optional challenge. So like if you're a hardcore player, or like with exiled mages, if you're a hardcore player and you're just like, I just don't want to fight that mage, you just don't pop the prison and you walk by it, and you're not in any extra danger. And it's the same style of thing where there's a situation where you have to opt into the fight. You have to very explicitly say, I want to fight this right now.
Okay.
Come at me. And but it will be tough, and it will be something that will challenge you and have good rewards and stuff.
I can't
well,
comment on this one. I can't comment on this one.
What are the rewards for this one?
I mean, the items. That's about all I can say there.
Okay.
Yeah, equipment items.
I will come over the top and say good equipment items. So there you go. How's that? Okay, Mike, you're gonna like
good equipment items. How we go with that?
right? Mike, you're gonna
There's
like
always
this
a chance
question.
you drop crap, right?
I guess that's true. You're gonna like this one. Up until now, it's been said that the intended corruption level is about 200 to 300 for an established build. You spoke about bringing the gap in difficulty between 300, or bringing in the gap between 300 and 1,000. What do you think the new intended corruption range will be?
Yeah, I mean, we're still aiming at that same sort of point for most builds,
Okay.
and that's not to say that we look at a build and we're like, oh, it's hit this corruption threshold, it's time to get the nerf hammer out. Like let's drop this down to a reasonable point necessarily. We do try and sort of massage things so that they're closer together, and most of that comes from the expectation of having to get your corruption up that high. Because we've set the balance of how fast you're going to get rewards from corruption and the time it takes you to get to that corruption at a sort of like a specific time investment range for the player. So we don't expect players to sit there and grind corruption for a month solid every day, all day, just to get up to these insane corruption numbers.
Because it takes a long time.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the indication of where we expect players to be with corruption is the time investment that they're putting into getting corruption up that high. So we still want players to be able to have builds where they're like, oh, I'm going to push corruption a little bit more, and I'm going to see how high I can do that. But we want the point that they're hitting that challenging pushing phase to be a lot earlier.
Great. So I hear you've added an evade dodge mechanic to the game. How will that function? Will there be iframes, and will there be stats on gear that affect this?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. the core of it, it's really simple. It is it's basically a shorter shift. Like if you're familiar with the rogue shift ability, where it just you move, you dash in a direction and you move, it's that, but you don't go as far. That's the basis of it right there. There's no iframes. It's not a like dramatic speed boost. It's mostly just a like I need to, like when I say dramatic speed boost, it's not a mobility. It's not a dramatic mobility boost. So that's one of the big concerns people have, is that you're not that spamming this is going to be the preferred method of getting across a map, like some like speedrunner playing Zelda or something. You're just like rolling every chance you get. Personally, when playing with it, I find I'm more efficient when I have it ready for the fights themselves.
Would you say that the new Pinnacle boss requires a movement skill? Like, let's say I went in and said I didn't take a movement skill and I hate evade. Can you complete the fight without a movement skill?
It is possible. Okay. It is possible. You kind of have to be so good at it that you're like anticipating the fight, the abilities. You're like learning the anticipation swings and things like that. You're learning like any tiny little clue that some ability is coming, where you're like, oh, I know at this health it's gonna add this ability to its pool, and I've got to anticipate that and be ready to move out of the way quickly. You know, like if you're that tuned into the boss and your build is that strong, you got like crazy gear, you could get away with doing without a movement ability.
But it would definitely help.
It's gonna make life a lot harder if you have no extra movement to things at all. And it's like there's so many different little movement touches that are sprinkled into other abilities too. So like like some abilities give you like a little backflip or a little forward hop or something like that. And like even things like that can be useful in the right situation if you know what you're doing with them and you know the boss fight really well and you've learned it. First time people going into that boss fight, having a movement ability is going to be really, really useful.
Got it. And I'm sure it's going to be the fight when you go in for the first time. It's going to be brutal because you don't know any of the attacks or what it's going to do.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Mike, I know this is a totally far down the line question. Any plans for a mastery for Mage that does minions? So normally every class kind of has a minion mastery, and I guess Mage kind of has the rune master. Any thoughts of a sub or a mastery for Mage, minion focused?
It's unlikely at this point. Okay. The rune master almost became that, and we made a conscious decision not to have someone just mirror images. And yeah, that's the like, yeah, it kind of does it a little bit, but not really. And we made a conscious decision not to have a minion mastery on Mage. And our current plans for like moving forward on Mage do not involve minions. Okay. But like our current plans don't extend into the final, like we're like 10 years from now sunsetting last Epoch, and I'm not looking that far in the future. So maybe someday, but we don't have any plans for it right now.
Okay.
I want to close the door completely.
All right. So will there be any new uniques or items added to Cycle 2? And if so, can you give us some information on one or as many as you want?
Or all of them?
I don't think I can say anything specific about them yet, but there definitely are lots coming. Like roughly similar to however many we added in 1.0 and 0.92 and 0.91. And it's a pretty similar amount of uniques that come in on major patches. We've got
double digits. Is it double digits?
Yeah. For those who don't know, how much is like the normal amount of uniques coming?
Yeah, I say that because I'm not actually sure what the normal amount is myself either.
Okay,
but we've been allocating a similar amount of resources to it as we usually do. Okay. It is I'm pretty sure we already have double digits number of uniques, and there are more uniques still being made.
Awesome.
There's definitely some that are here. This is the best I can do for you in specifics. There's at least one unique for a long established ability that I don't think has any unique specific to it yet. I don't think it has any that are like that mention this ability directly on it.
A unique for a skill, and that skill does not have a unique for it currently.
Yeah, like a unique that like specifically calls out just that unique or just that ability.
Okay. This ties into my next question, which I'm sure you will not be surprised in. Is there any future plans to create a unique that unlocks Void for Warlock?
I am not surprised about that question at all.
Okay, for everybody, I told EHG for years that I wanted the Warlock to be Void. I don't work for EHG, so it's just a recommendation. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Warlock being Void, and like initially that was one of the options we talked about when we were designing like the Rune Master and the Warlock for 1.0, and Falconer. Well, Rune Master was a little bit before, but Falconer, Warlock, and Rune Master. There was a lot of design discussions that happened around the like where they fit into the game and where they're going to fit into the things we do going forward as well. So there was a lot more future planning that went into those 3 masteries than the ones that came before it. I think that if we added a Void themed mastery to Acolyte, it probably wouldn't be Warlock.
So no.
Probably not. I mean, like Sork has some Void stuff already with like some items. I think that would probably be about as far as we would go for adding Void to Warlock. Would be like maybe there's an item that sprinkles it in a little bit.
Okay.
But not in 1.1. Sorry.
So
I don't think so. So unless someone sneaks something in the last like day or two.
So it's not a definite no, but it's a maybe no.
Yeah.
I think that exploring like a full Void class on Acolyte would be more interesting than slipping it into Warlock.
Knowing how much people like Void, I would be surprised if EHG doesn't have at least some plans for more Void with masteries down the line, seeing as really there's only Void Knight right now.
We have
right, yeah.
We have plans to add Void to other classes.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there any consideration on expanding on your leaderboard systems? I know a lot of people enjoy the first to 100 or max level race and possibly even weekly or monthly resets to some of the leaderboards.
Yeah, there's the number of like internal requests for leaderboard additions that we have is insane. Where we're like, oh man, we got to add this one and we got to add that one. Okay, we got to do this first, and we got to do that first. Slow down, guys, type thing. So yes, there's lots of things that we want to add in for more leaderboard stuff. We really want to add in. I think the thing that I'd really like to see personally is leaderboards for things other than like level and corruption and things other than level and arena. So things like corruption or things like I don't know, even weird things. I think there's room for a lot of different leaderboards that can be weird competitive-y things, and it's kind of just ends up being kill. Like, yeah, or like lowest level pinnacle boss kill.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or like I don't know. This is something I literally just thought of right now. So it's not in the works, but like I think there's a lot of room for more interesting things like that. And it's kind of just like getting like some really specific and narrow access to the database on what characters are out there and what they've done. And these are mostly things that we'll be trying to record anyways, and things that we'll be trying to be able to look up anyways, so that it's mostly just creating the UI framework for it to display to people. And I think there's a lot of interesting things in there where people could say like, here's an aspect of the game that I really like and I really find fun. Hey, I can compete on that because there's a ranking system there that I can see like, oh, like this activity that I love,
yep.
I'm the 451st best person on that thing. Let me try and get higher on that leaderboard. And like leaderboard.
Anything coming for cycle 2 though to leaderboards? No.
So the leaderboards in cycle 2 are going to be largely the same. There might be some like there's like a new column that got added. I think it's just like a little bit of extra information that we've been tracking that we've added in. So like there's I think there's a tiny little update technically. So technically the answer is yes, but
nothing major,
like
just little UI
nothing major,
stuff. Yeah. Okay.
But there's definitely a lot of room for those types of things, and that's the sort of content that we're really interested in adding onto the game, because I think it could be a lot of fun. Even weird things like most gold anyone's farmed or something. I don't know. Just like I think there's room for weird things like that.
I think that sounds awesome.
I like the low level, like level 50 pinnacle boss kill, something like that. Like
That comes from like there's a YouTube video that came out, I don't know, 5 years ago, of this guy beating the Diablo 2 Pandemonium event, the Chaos Tristram, at like level 15 with a paladin or something. I don't know, maybe it was level 21 or something. It was really low where you're like, he's like, I got smite, let's go.
It might be possible if you had 4 LP uniques that you turned into legendaries, they could use super low level and you prep for it. Oh yeah, that would be pretty fun. That would be fun.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of, by being super low level, you're restricting access to certain abilities and passives and things like that. And like the amount of points you can put in your skills caps really early and things like that. So there's some interesting restrictions that happens when you start looking at low level contests for things. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, next question. You're going to like this one, maybe. How does it feel to see major developers like Grinding Gear Games and Blizzard making changes to their game like trading and crafting systems that appear to be influenced by Last Epoch? What impact do you think this recognition has on your team and the game's development?
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a lot of stuff there. I mean, it's kind of surreal to see, because there's clear impact that we're having on the ARPG space, which is like, that alone is amazing. And I think that most of that impact probably just comes from like people playing different games and then going back to their, like, the other communities that they're part of and saying like, hey, I really like this feature. And I think that's how a lot of that that gets like I was gonna say bleeds into the other games a little bit, but I don't know the best word here that I'm missing, but it doesn't matter. The way that I think that it's really cool that we're able to look at these systems and say like, we're clearly doing something right, and I think it gives the team a lot of energy and just like, hey, this is like a small community of games. There's not a lot of big ARPGs right now, and I think that we're making a splash, and it's really fun. It's exciting, and yeah.
Could you have envisioned that when you responded to the Reddit post back in the day?
I mean, you always dream about that sort of thing. I don't think it was anything any of us expected or envisioned, really. But you know, you don't. It's not completely out of mind.
No, that's awesome.
Nice. So, speaking of a system unique to Last Epoch, I really enjoyed the faction systems. Now, in Cycle 2, is there going to be changes to the faction system? I noticed there was a change to level 10, the Circle of Fortune. Is there anything else that we can expect? And maybe even explain the level 10 change, because I'm not sure everyone knows.
Yeah, so the level 10, the new rank 10 COF faction reward is that basically boss-specific stuff drops 150%. Right, so you get extra boss drops. So if you're COF, you're getting extra cracks at that. At those boss drops, because previously that was a big gap in COF's bonuses, and people felt like they were being. I think this is. I'm just going to step back a little bit from the question, but I'll finish it. Is that I think a big driving factor for a lot of people's enjoyment in ARPGs is feeling like you're being efficient, and most times that comes from just being efficient. And if you're playing COF and you're fighting those bosses right now with the 1.0 live version, before we've made this change, you feel like you're not being efficient because the bonuses that you're getting from the faction you chose are not being applied to those drops. And so you're like, well, I might as well just be MG if I'm farming these items, because it's basically the same thing. And it's that feeling of being inefficient that I think feels bad to a lot of players. And so we're, I guess the target of this change is trying to make people feel and actually be more efficient in their farming as COF, which I think feels good and is fun for a lot of people. And then to expand on the actual like faction changes themselves, yeah, there's a lot more changes. I think
there's a rumor going around that there's going to be more than 10 levels.
It's not off the table. It's not impossible. There's a lot of changes. I think there's in total of all of the faction rank rewards that exist in the entire game, there are more new than old.
Great.
Oh wow.
More like brand new that just didn't exist before, like just like brand new things. Like the 150% is a brand new thing. So there's more new than old in like the whole faction system together. I can't really tell you exactly where those things are, but yeah, there's a good chunk of them. There's gonna be new faction stuff to explore. like, yeah, and we built the faction system really intentionally to easily be expanded upon with new factions, with new rewards, with new NPCs for the factions that exist, and new items that get added in, and new mechanics that work with that. And like, there's all these things that we built the system to be really extensible right from the get-go, and that's something that we do plan on leveraging as we go forward.
So, is there any new factions being developed right now for later cycles?
Yes, we are working on new factions right now. Yep, and they aren't mutually exclusive factions. So
really,
so like you could join like COF, and maybe in the future there's like some other faction you join, so you're part of COF and this other faction at the same time. So they're not specifically just about finding necessarily. Awesome. Yeah. So maybe there's a I don't want to go too in depth on things that are coming in the future, but
you
like
can.
Maybe there's some new mechanic, and there's some faction that's associated with that new mechanic, and there's some reason to join some faction. Yeah, like I'm super vague here, but yeah, we're gonna keep adding more factions, and we've got like it was like right from square one of adding the factions. It was designed with the intention of adding more in the future.
No, that is awesome. Switching to crafting. Any plan for new crafting materials and or the ability to modify implicits, like switch implicits?
Implicits are tied to the base item extremely tightly right now with the way items are developed.
Okay.
So we'd have to kind of change how like just base items function in the game to even just to even like have implicits work, like be something that you could change. It would be easier for us to just like change the base item altogether into a different base item.
I see.
Okay. to modify implicits. So implicits are pretty right now, and we don't plan on changing it. And right now, the way it is the implicits are very intrinsically tied to that base item.
Okay.
The only like for some implicits that do have rolls, we can affect those rolls on the implicits to like change how strong it is, but like taking an implicit that's like crit and changing it to attack speed or something like that on a weapon is just not something we can do with implicits right now.
Okay.
I mean, like we have the power to change anything. What's the time investment to like how much we get out of it? Is that ratio worth it for us to do it? Type thing. What's the other question? Are there any new crafting materials? There are at least one new crafting material that's coming to 1.1.
Oh,
I think I've said that on stream before, though.
I don't know if you have.
Okay.
Well,
they almost gave me the picture of it to show today. They almost did.
Can you describe the picture?
It looks kind of similar to some of the other ones because it's
okay.
I see one thing from chat. They are asking if it's a glyph or a rune.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I tried. Everyone, I tried.
All right. Well, speaking
it is
of
a glyph or rune. There is a new glyph or rune.
The other.
Yeah, there is a new glyph or rune coming. Yeah.
Well, I guess on the topic of crafting, I myself, after playing for a little bit, have acquired thousands of Aphix shards. Is there any plan to do something with these Aphix shards that I just don't care about?
Yes. I don't think it managed to make it into 1.1, unfortunately, but we are planning a like exchange vendor for Aphix shards, where it'll be like
nice,
like oh hey, you can buy a level of fireball shard for I don't know 10 strength shards.
Okay.
I don't know what the exact exchange rate's going to be or how that's going to play out exactly, but yeah, just like some way of saying like I never play a melee character and all these attack speed shards are just sitting here doing nothing. Let me turn those into something better. It would be at a loss.
Awesome. I love that.
It would be at a loss. That's just to be clear that this just
that's fine.
Yeah. So you never we don't plan on having like one-to-one trades for things like this, but like some sort of system where you can like go to a dude who's just sitting there and you're like, give me these ones that I'm looking for, and you can take all these ones I don't want. Yeah.
We were having a conversation during the pre-show today about what to do with extra uniques. I know EHG has talked about maybe being able to salvage them for like nice shards or something like that. Any plans on the future for uniques?
Yeah, this is a really tricky one. There's kind of this we've came close to actually putting a couple things like this in the game already, and we stopped short every time. And I don't know, and it was because of kind of one specific problem, and I'll tell you what that is right now. And I don't know how to solve that problem. So if someone knows how to solve this problem, leave a suggestion somewhere, and maybe we'll use your idea to solve this problem. And the big problem is that we don't really want people picking up every single unique they come across. And if junk uniques are suddenly useful and valuable, people are going to need to go back to town a lot more, especially at the super high levels when you're finding, like, you pop a big COF loot explosion and there's 30 uniques that drop on the ground and you're like, I need to pick up all 30 of these because they're all useful for me. They're all useful as a salvaging thing. And that time investment of that busy work of just like picking up those uniques, doing something with them, and you don't end up actually keeping those uniques, they just turn into some other resource. That process is kind of takes you out of the flow of the game a little bit too much. We think it will anyways. And so that's why we've stopped. That's the main reason why we stopped. There's a couple of little things too, but that's the main reason why we've stopped short of adding that in the game so far.
That does make sense. Thinking about COF, sometimes you get 20 items that drop on the ground. So even if you were able to salvage them with the forge by hitting F, you're still going to do one item at a time, or you have to load up your inventory, go to town, do whatever the mechanic is, and back and forth. And
then on top of that as well is that then people are or people are like selling them on the auction house for their value, the Bazaar, for their value as a salvaging material. Or people are like going into the Bazaar that are like super high level people that are like, oh, we've got millions and millions and millions of gold, and they're coming in, they're buying out the cheap stock for the newer players, and then suddenly the cheap stock in the Bazaar disappears because they've just like salvaged all these cheap uniques from them. So then like new players are coming, they're like, I can't buy anything, there's nothing there. And so there's these like these are some of the issues that we're running into with adding a system like this right now.
Okay.
Well, those are good reasons. Those are good reasons.
They're hard problems to solve, and like these are things that we're talking about and discussing and looking at because these are because you're right that there's a bit of a feels bad frustration when uniques drop on the ground and you're like, oh, it sucks that I'm just walking away from this shiny thing. You know, it kind of feels like a waste. Like I mean,
it is interesting because you think of it as a no-brainer. Yeah, you could salvage the uniques and get some rare shards or something like that, random something. But yeah, you don't think about what that does to the gamer flow. No, that's
yeah.
So, is there any consideration or plans for possibly coming out with mid-season events, like a summer event, an XP event?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about things like that. We don't have, not yet. So there won't be. I don't think we have anything planned for 1.1 like that. But yeah, like having some sort of there's lots of different types of events that we've talked about doing, and I would be I very much expect us to start doing those. And I think that there's lots of different types. So there's like holiday like timing events, so like just like a whole bunch of cool things thrown in that are around a theme. Maybe there's like some new activity, like, oh, there's a snowball fight, and if you finish the snowball fight you can get a frozen sword, MTX or something. I don't know, like things like that. There's those types of events. And then there's also like, hey, if you start a new character right now and it's a race to kill this boss, and whoever does it gets something like a challenge event like that as well. So there's like different types of events, like competitive events and fun events. And I know competitive events are fun for a lot of people, but there's a lot of people, there's different players that those appeal to, I think. Because there's a lot of players that just like won't, they're like, oh, there's a new race happening, and they're like, that means nothing to me because like there's no way I'm competing in that. I don't know the time, I don't know the experience, whatever. It's just too intimidating or something. And so there's different types of events that we are looking at doing. And I don't think we have anything specific planned for 1.1 yet.
Okay.
Mike, I get asked every day, Keyring.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Is that you've mentioned it multiple times because you get asked the same question on Fridays. Is that just not enough time thing? Like,
Yeah, the keys are interesting. We've changed our minds on how the keys are going to function so many different ways, so many different times, and I think we're finally settled on having like not changing their functionality and having a infinite storage for them, so they're not just like taking up space. Because right now they are clutter. Right now, there's
Correct,
so much extra space they take up, and I think that I think having a dedicated spot in your crafting materials inventory is the simplest and best way to go about this.
and it would function just like shards. You pick it up, you hit sort, and it just goes into. Yeah,
it'd be exactly the same as it would basically would turn keys into a crafting material. Is basically what it would do. And I think that's the best way to handle it at this point. The big thing you lose with that is you lose any sort of opportunity of giving keys properties. That's the big downside for doing that. Suddenly you can't have a key that's like, oh, if you use this key because it has this key now has affixes, and this key rolled plus 40% weapons and minus 10% damage dealt to enemies in here, something like that. So like it's harder when you get stuff. It's the PoE maps.
we had a conversation on the pre-show because people were like, why are keys like this? And it's like, because they were designed kind of like PoE maps where they can have
properties.
Exactly. So
so there's I think keys are going to end up in a keyring in your stash, in your crafting material stash. I still don't think it's in 1.1 either.
What about passives reset button?
that one gets that one's so funny because like we've actually announced that it was going to happen a couple times, and then like we had a design meeting and we're like decided in the meeting like, okay, we're not actually going to do it, and then it gets announced again. Then we're like, okay, well, we have to have another meeting about this now. So that's happened a couple times.
And you've already spilled the beans that you have a respec all button for your passives.
Yeah, we do. We have there's a ton of dev tools. The problem with the respec passives that we have for our like dev testing stuff is it respects everything. Like it takes you back to like it knocks you out of your mastery too. Like it respects everything to do with your passives.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it's not just as simple as hooking that function up to a button.
Okay. Frosty, why don't you ask one more question and then we'll go to our first leak of the stream.
All right. This is a two-parter question. So the first part is when I played Cycle 1, I felt maybe it was the masteries I was playing, but I felt Ward was just so powerful. It was either go Ward or go home. Was there any balance adjustments made to rein that in a bit? And the second part of my question is actually a second question. When will we see Cycle 2 patch notes?
Yes. Okay. I'll do the second half first, real quick. Patch notes will be just a few days before the patch, just like we normally do. Like we usually leading up to the patch, we usually do a hype week where we release like pieces of like dev blogs where we'll like go into a deep dive on the Harbinger system. We'll go to a deep dive on the Nemesis system. We'll go to a deep dive on the Pinnacle boss that's coming. We'll go into a deep dive on like all these little things.
What's the Pinnacle boss's name?
Oh, it's and then
sorry, go on.
Will be and at the end of that, the last post in that like string of dev blogs is the patch notes. Yeah. I didn't actually mouth its name, by the way, so don't.
People in chat are trying to figure it out. Go ahead.
I just opened my mouth a few times. Yeah. Sorry. And then the first half of that question was in the balancing coming off of Cycle 1, going to Cycle 2, balancing Ward, because it felt so oppressively epic. And I think the key issue why Ward was so strong. Okay, let's step back a second here. I think that yes, Ward crazy mega strong, uber super mega powerful. I think that there are also extremely powerful non-Ward builds the big difference I think between the two right now is that, and by right now I mean in 1.0, is that the most of the defensive power from ward comes from your abilities, and most of the defensive power from non-ward builds comes from your items. And so you're like, if you're super deep in a cycle and you farmed a ton and you've got like best in slot, effectively best in slot gear, you're seeing those health and non-ward builds start to catch up a little bit. Not all the way, but they're making a lot of headway, and you're seeing builds pop up that are like, oh, this is a 2K corruption non-ward build show up. Like if we've seen those, and so we are, and we are, yes, definitely addressing the power discrepancy between ward and not ward, and that comes in many different little forms here and there. So there's things that are like adjustments to the ward system as a whole. And then that's like as granular as like the formula for ward decay and the formula for ward retention and the formula for like all these little formulas are getting adjusted and shifted and things like that.
They're
and
getting reeled in a little bit. Is that basically? Yeah.
Yes. And then there's also the like things that are also a little bit more universal, like items that have the way items affect those defenses are being changed as well. And then also on top of that, and some of those are buffed, some of those are nerfed depending on where they are, because there's certain ward builds that are not very strong because the passives and skills that go with them are really underpowered. And so like you will see certain ward things getting buffed too. But they're like the really underpowered ward things. And then and you'll see passive and skill changes for non-ward defenses, mostly getting buffed, some of them getting nerfed as well, because like it's a give and take everywhere type thing. But yes, I think you'll see overall ward builds will be generally less powerful, especially early on in the cycle, and than they are now. They'll still be really good. They're still really strong, and you'll see non-ward builds being a little bit better in the defenses they're getting from passives. As we've spoiled we've leaked a few passives already, and one of them in particular was like a ton of health for Void Knight, for doing stuff you're already doing basically.
If I am somebody that enjoys using endurance instead of ward, am I going to be happy in cycle 2?
Yeah. I think that's an easy yes on a simple question.
Nice.
Okay. Awesome. All right, everybody, we are I can't talk. We're switching scenes. And here we go. It worked. Woohoo. All right. EHG is so kind.
That number scares me.
To give us a couple of teasers. If you don't know, they're kind of taking the PoE approach where they put the timer on the website now. So if any time you want to know when cycle 2 is dropping, you've got a little timer here that is always going down, Mike. The time is always going down. 26 days, 15 hours until cycle 2. All right, teaser number 1. Here we go. Ooh, what is that, Mike? Can you see it? Do you want to break it down for us?
Do you want me to read it? Yeah. Okay. So this is a node in the Shield Bash skill tree. This is Indomitable Force 2.0 node. Shield Bash has added melee damage based on your block effectiveness. So you get damage you get 1+1 base damage for Shield Bash per 40 block effectiveness that you have on your entire character.
That's
so we
huge.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. Yes. Yeah. So this is the section of the Shield Bash tree like without a cooldown, where it's or like low cooldown. I can't remember if it's no cooldown or low cooldown, but it's where you're looking to use Shield Bash more as a bit of a damaging. You're looking to use it more as a damaging ability than strictly a CC ability. And so you're getting some damage buffs there.
I like that you guys are starting to look at shields as you prepare for dual shields in the future. I think that is very smart. Right.
I know we've talked about that as like a someday type thing. Yeah. I'd love to have dual wield shields. I think that's like a crazy fun idea in character building. It's like it's the whole like subverting expectations type of feel from a character that I think is fun and interesting.
I'm telling you, if there is a future barbarian class that can dual wield two-handers for whatever negative because of it, if I walk as slow as, whatever, or dual wielding shields, EHG is...
Every once in a while, your character will just like slip and fall randomly, like in Brawl.
Oh, no. Oh, I hated that.
I would take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Everyone's favorite Brawl mechanic. Let's go.
Oh, it was such a good update.
Now you're talking in Frosty's world. All
I'm
right.
kidding, by the way. Just for the record, it's a total joke. Just in
Leak
case.
number one.
Melee was the best.
Damaging with shield bash. Very, very cool. Now, what I'm going to switch to is the roadmap that was recently released. And basically what this is showing is cycle 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I know the numbers, like, I get asked all the time, why does it say 1-1 or 1-2? That's just the update. So the last one was cycle 1, so now these are the next 4 cycles. And I know that Frosty has a couple questions about some of the updates that are on here.
I do.
Love to.
Sigils.
Oh, yeah. So all the way on the right there, I see a fireball symbol with a sigil on it. I may have had a video out recently showing fireball in a different game, and I guess the lack of options that they have. Your choice of fireball for this image, I don't know if that had anything to do with my image that I made. But, maybe you can explain why you chose fireball, and then feel free to explain exactly what this sigil does.
Yeah, please.
I would love to explain what that does, because I actually know what it does.
When I look at the picture, I see jewels from PoE, right? Like you could socket in something that unlocks something. It's even got like a little jewel or gem under it. Way off.
What? Yeah, maybe. I can't talk about that really at all. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
It is an expansion to the so there's I guess I can talk about the problem that I think skills have right now. Like our skill system. Our skill system is one of our best things in the game. I think it is.
Correct.
It's something that we get tons of people saying it's fantastic. It's far from perfect, and we are constantly trying to improve these things. And I think one of the key problems that we have with our skill system that we've tried to solve with it is that the pacing throughout leveling and the fall off that happens with your skill progression in late game. So like you get to like even 18 points in your skill tree, 17 points in your skill tree. You're like finishing the campaign and you're already there. And that's most of your like your skill trees are set up. They're in their like final form at that point already. And there's not really much that changes with them after you get into the end of the game. So we one of the ways we've tried to in the past help improve this is by adding in the plus skill affixes on items. So like on your helmet, chest, and relic, and then also on any unique item as possible to have these like plus skill plus 3 to fireball, and you just get 3 extra points, but it's late game, so you're like, okay, then I can add 3 more points in. And that's helped. That's definitely helped because it does when you hit certain thresholds of skill points, you're like, oh, I now have like 26 nodes. Okay, I can reach this one way over here, and I can reach this one way over here, and that changes some of the dynamics and things you can do a little bit. But it's not like really impactful. It doesn't do a ton. So that's sort of the core problem that we see with our skill system still that we want to address.
Now, I think you'll be able to answer this, maybe. This picture, is it adding more nodes or switching existing nodes?
I can't answer that question.
Blink twice if it's adding more nodes. It looks like it's adding nodes.
I'll say this about that picture. that is not like that's photoshopped. That is not something that's been built in game. That is a artist conceptualization of a proposed system. So I don't want you to take the specific details too literally, and try not to divine too specific details from that image.
We will anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like you put a jewel in it and it created 3 things or 4 things. I don't know. You're right.
It might do that. Yeah, it's possible.
Damn it.
I'm sorry, I can't give any details on what's
Okay,
gonna
how
be.
about this? How about this?
It's
Out
all
of
right.
these 4, which one are you most excited about? If everything that you have planned comes to fruition, out of these 4, which one is like, oh, this one's gonna be a banger? Which one?
So the reason why I'm hesitating is more just like, how do I pick just one of them?
Okay, they're all 4, or 3 of them are 9s, one of them's a 10, right? Which
Yeah.
one is the 10?
I think 1.3 is the one I'm most excited about.
Okay, now that you said 1.3, I have a follow-up question. Is this season, is this a spider because of the weavers? Like the weaver spider? It makes perfect sense, right? Is that why it's a spider?
It's related. I mean, it says that right there, doesn't it?
Nope.
Oh, confirmed.
No, it's in the text.
What text?
The text that's written weird. The translation, doesn't it say that?
Oh, we have to translate it.
It's on one of the Weaver's Will items. The text that's on that text box, when you translate it, is the flavor text from a Weaver's Will item.
I thought my chat and community was trying to decipher this, and they said it was just random symbols. So you're saying this actually does say something?
Yeah, it's flavor text from an item that's already in the game.
Brow, go find it. Sorry.
So someone solved this already. Like day one that we launched it, there was like a post on Reddit.
I
and
told you it was
solved.
font. The whole chat's blowing up now.
This I don't think I've spoiled anything new here. I'm sorry.
Damn it. All right.
Because I didn't know it said anything either, and then I saw the post on Reddit. I'm like, oh, it says something.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
I probably asked
Sorry.
you, and you said it was not even written. That's probably what it was.
I probably did tell you that because I didn't know at that point.
That probably is it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not like I don't have hard details.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly the specifics on everything that's going to happen there because we're quite a ways out from that still. Like bare minimum, we're what absolute minimum, like 6.5 months out of that. Like
Well,
if
I mean-
everything went at absolute breakneck speed.
Right. You're talking based upon cycles every 3 to 4 months. For
Yeah.
this year, we get cycle 2 and cycle 3, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
so if everything works out perfect, you maybe get through 1.5 next year, right?
Yeah.
So that you see this little picture.
Yeah, it's teasing there. I saw that. I like immediately tried to scroll. I'm
I
like,
know. What is it? Damn it.
It's just trying to. It's only there to communicate that we're like the 1.4 is not the end.
Oh, yeah, I get
and
it.
then every 2 cycles, we're gonna basically like shift everything to the left and add 2 more on to this. So
nice.
like, when we get to like, I don't know when the shift's gonna happen, but we'll do every 2 cycles. We'll update the roadmap.
It's awesome.
So other studios do the 2 teams where one team is working on current cycle, then the other one's working in it, and then they leapfrog each other. Does EHG from a studio, does that, no?
No, we don't do that. We do have people like there's certain like there'll be things that people will start working on ahead of time.
Okay.
But like those same people will still be working on things that are on like, so there's people that are starting to work on like story elements for 1.2 and like voice scripts and like things like that, like what's going to happen in that campaign chapter and like the level design stuff like that's being worked on already. Because those people, the things that they work on are all done for 1.1. So they've moved on to the next one. But like the next people will the people who do like skill design and skill development, when they're all finished at 1.1, will move over to 1.2 as well. So it's just like not everyone doesn't move over as like a big wave. It's like people trickle over once the stuff for the current patch is done.
Okay.
And people work on both simultaneously as well. They go back and forth.
Frosty, do you have any questions?
No, I kind of think we might be ready for the next part of this podcast.
Spoiler 2?
No, not spoiler 2. I have something special for Mike. For actually everybody, if you have not seen this yet. Everyone, right now we are on the official Kickstarter page for Last Epoch. And this came out, I don't know, what, six years ago, something like that. And there's a very special video here with somebody in it. Everybody, we're going to take a quick look at the beginning of Epoch and see if you notice the celebrity in this video.
I've not seen this.
The UI on the left, the bottom left, the health globe and the mana.
OG.
Hello, my name is Judd Kobler, CEO of 11th Hour Games and Game Director for Last Epoch, the next great action RPG.
You're wearing that shirt right now?
I'm wearing that shirt right now, yeah. Just because I couldn't find any of the modern ones.
Dude, I remember one time I was talking to Boardman. This is years ago. He's like, I found the shirt. He bought that Last Epoch shirt used off some website.
Wow.
I don't know why I said that. All right.
Last Epoch
got like
is a
5 of them in
top-down
a bin
action
beside
RPG
me.
that combines time travel, engrossing
And I've got
character
one that's like an
customization,
extra
and
small.
endless replayability. Think back to your favorite childhood games, the ones you shared with your closest friends.
The fake multiplayer.
Hey, Mike, why is multiplayer in the Kickstarter, but it took 5.5 years to drop?
So technically that is us playing multiplayer. It's not fully server authoritative properly yet. And only the person recording can see the VFX for anything that's happening. Everyone else is just like using abilities and assuming they're happening. It's that was like our very, very early, like we've got to start working on multiplayer. We got to get this going. And being like, we were just like, let's try and do something, see what we can make happen. And yeah, that was our very first attempt at multiplayer.
Look at where I stopped the video. Does that say dogs? Mercenary dogs?
I can't see it. It's so tiny.
It's too small.
Yeah, that's a prefix name for an item.
The game's where you
most
can
of the
spend countless
affix
hours
names
killing
were
monsters,
based off
building an
animals.
awesome character, and hunting for perfect items. Games like this were an essential part of what made me who I am, and this is not only true for me, but the entire team here at 11th Hour Games. Our team has been working on Last Epoch as a passion project for close to a year now. We built a talented team of dedicated ARPG players who are dead set on perfecting the formula that make these games so entertaining.
By the way, Mike, do you want to quickly say who this young lad is right here?
That's Judd. He's the game director, CEO. He started this whole thing. He's the driving force behind all of us making this game. And yeah, he's the guy.
If you ever see Mox in chat, it's Judd.
That's him.
While adding our own touch to the genre.
Nice graphics.
Yeah.
Here it is. Get ready.
Time travel is a key factor
Nice.
in tying Last Epoch to
Starting the beard.
Is this your house?
No. That's a now ex team member's house.
Is that the same shirt?
No, I'm wearing the second generation shirt. That's the first generation shirt.
Okay.
This is actually slightly different. Yeah, you can see the lines are like bigger and bolder.
Okay, just
I
personal
do have that
question.
shirt somewhere too.
Was this you just shaved your beard or you weren't going as long yet?
I trimmed it up for this. This was like I got a haircut and a trim for this. But my beard was not this long even like a week before this. No.
Got it.
Okay.
Here we go.
When was the last time you were cleanly shaved?
Oh.
Halloween 2012, I think.
What was your
No,
costume
it-
that you needed to be cleanly shaved?
Yeah, it was just before I kind of the year 2012 is the wrong year. I just started university, and like there's all the frosh stuff happening, and like I did some weird stuff to my hair. I put my hair in like a friar tuck ring, and my beard was like the inverse, like it was like it came down and then came up into a mustache, and like all of this was clear. As like part of that, like it's just a joke, and I was like that for like 2-3 months. I don't know, it was all the way like that to Halloween.
Nice.
And then I got to Halloween, and I'm like, no, I'm shaving it all off the next day. So like November 1st, whatever that year, my first year of university, was the last time I was clean shaven.
Nice.
Together. Throughout the story, you will travel to 4 distinct eras in time and see how each zone changes throughout the ages. See the untouched beauty of nature and its fall. Face the wrath of prideful gods and witness their defeat. Battle dark empires built upon the ashes of the past. And most importantly, discover the secrets of the void.
Can't hear the audio, but I feel like I know what it's saying.
Every location can be explored in each era, with alternate timelines featured prominently in our endgame systems.
Another vital pillar of our design is character identity. You'll pick between 5 base classes that advance into one of 2 mastery.
The original class wheel.
I get asked this all the time. What happened to Warlock? And correct me if I'm wrong, because Warlock was one of the original classes. It got pushed because it was supposed to be a class that works with corpses, but then that system did not work correctly.
Yep, we couldn't get corpse interaction to work properly in multiplayer at the time. And so we're like, we're going to get that to work someday. We're going to push Warlock. And this was part of the reason for like there was a few things that kind of all happened at once to add in a 3rd mastery class, and that was one of the things. So we added in Lich to be that 2nd mastery while we made corpse interaction work for Warlock, and we never did.
Got it. And then for a little lore, if in the end of time you have the NPC called the Forgotten Knight. And that NPC is there because the Sentinel was originally a female knight. And the female knight got taken out for the Sentinel. So the Forgotten Knight is the Forgotten.
We just got so much feedback that people were like shocked that the knight was like this armored character that was like the lore behind it was coming from like a military background, and like all these things. There's like, it doesn't make sense. Like this character would be male. Everyone was telling us, and we're like, I mean, okay. And the Acolyte originally didn't have, it was ambiguous. It was like, it's supposed to be like, you can't really tell.
Interesting.
Classes that will unlock new and powerful abilities.
Feels so clunky and slow.
Honestly, watching this video, I love it. I don't know.
Every time I watch it, I think to myself, I'm so grateful for all the people that saw this and were able to see the potential back then.
How long ago was this again?
This is
7 years now.
This is a long time ago. This is pre-alpha 049.
Yeah, lots changed in 7 years.
049.
Characters in Last Epoch all have a deep backstory, are visually distinct, and have access to exclusive skills that can be each customized with their own augment tree.
Oh my gosh, Frosty!
I know.
It's Fireball in the Kickstarter! What are the odds of that? Oh my gosh. Sorry, but if you don't know, Frosty had a viral video where he was talking about Diablo 4's Fireball, comparing it to Last Epochs. Always Fireball, Destiny, the chat's going wild. That
it's just such an easy, like, iconic and relatable and understandable skill for every like fantasy RPG thing. It's like you don't have to explain what Fireball is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is why I picked it.
Frosty, look at the character customization on Fireball 7 years ago.
A lot of options there.
A lot of options.
This, combined with our passive grid system, creates an ideal toolbox for building characters that play how you want them to, without sacrificing their identity.
The Passive grid system.
Oh, this system.
A
I
randomized
know
loot
this
system
is.
helps foster strong character customization, but in
It was
more
a
ways
good
than
idea that
simple
never-
variable increases. Impactful
Yeah.
item mods ensure that loot consistently promotes interesting character choices. You're also able to extract power from these items.
I don't remember this crafting tree at all. I mean, obviously, I remember the old shatter. I don't remember this.
Through a crafting system, and use the resulting fragments to enhance your gear. This customization,
Back when
along
there
with
was
unique
no-
items,
So
Shard
you had
inventory.
to manually stash the shards, right? There was no transfer button.
And every shard had a unique icon. It would change the color and rotation slightly.
and powerful gear sets.
Oh, this is before
come
we even
together
had
to
that.
let
There was just
you carry
prefix
your
suffix
character you
icons.
want. This loot system is the fuel of our endgame, creating a deep and engaging item hunt to go along with our other endgame challenges. We have details on all of these systems you can check out on our Kickstarter page or at our website, lastepochgame.com.
We currently have a playable demo that anyone can download. This is a pre-alpha build that does not contain all the features we expect to have upon full release. We're already getting very positive feedback from our rapidly growing community, whose input is helping us shape development. We've come
I've looked through that to see if anything. I don't have anything there.
a long way since we began this project.
Bro,
While we
this
have
is
the
6
majority
years
of the
and 1
base
month
systems
since
in
we've been
place,
funded
we still have a massive
on
amount of
Kickstarter.
content to create. With funding, we can proceed to the next phase of development, allowing us to support full-time content creation and to bring our multiplayer servers online. Your generous support will help us make Last Epoch the next great action RPG. If you have questions, check out our
Can't
FAQ,
get
visit the
anywhere.
website, or join our active
Unless
Discord
we're
for
chat
constant updates.
Yeah, I saw.
And the opportunity to speak directly with our responsive development team. From everyone here at 11th Hour Games, thanks, and see
there's
you
the
soon,
crew.
travelers.
How many of these people still work there? Obviously, I know you, I know Kyle, I know Judd.
Yeah, there's Steve and Rick, and that's it.
Got it. Estimated
there's just-
delivery date, April 2020. April 2020.
I don't know what
When-
you're talking about.
I hope
Looks
you
like
guys
nothing to
never
me.
pull this down. I was told you can't legally pull down Kickstarter until you've like hit all your obligations or something. I hope this stays up forever.
It's so loose. I like the actual like legal requirements from Kickstarter are basically non-existent.
Got it.
There's like nothing. Like it's so loose. I feel like we could take this down. And I still get emails when people like leave comments or like someone yesterday or earlier today liked the update of like that 1.0 had launched, and I got an email that just said that one thing. It's like someone liked the update that you launched. I'm like, I need to turn off these emails.
Okay. Ready, Frosty? Hot seat?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right. Mike is officially between two portals. We are now coming towards, we got about 25 minutes left on our podcast. Now we're going to hit him with the real hard-hitting questions. Ready for this, good sir? Frosty, you can hit him. Go ahead.
All right. So, what class or classes will be getting their 4th mastery first?
I don't know if I can tell you that actually.
You might not be able to tell us most of these, but
I
maybe
think
just hint.
I think you should look at the ones that have the least variety.
Okay.
We can work with that. That's I can accept that response.
All right. One more quick one. Why don't we load everyone in our current zone stash tabs?
Yes.
Because the data because then you'd be able to like put a mod onto the game to be able to look at other people's other people's equipment, and that feels like an invasion of privacy to me.
Okay.
I have a question for you. Why does EHG hate the Forge Guard?
He took away the knights. It was like it made room for the knight, and like I miss the knight so much that I resent the Forge Guard. I just keep nerfing it.
What is going to be the most powerful mastery in Cycle 2? And same question, what will you be playing at the start?
The most powerful one will be my favorite one, but I'm not going to tell you which one that is because it changes. And
Your favorite is Blade Dancer.
but I will be playing I'm gonna start off playing Primalist. I'm gonna start off playing Beastmaster specifically.
If you had to pick between watching The Rock or Con Air, which movie would you watch?
Rock, easy, hands down, no question.
Not even close?
I love The Rock. It's like it's my wife and I. It's one of our like go-to like comfort movies, and we don't watch it very often, but like every 3 or 4 years, one of us will just like put it on, and we'll be like, yeah, all right, let's watch The Rock.
All right. Has Riker slipped into your DMs yet? If you can't answer, breathe once for no, twice or more for yes. Okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, you're giving Frosty too much material.
Not specifically me, but I there's a group DM that I have with that Riker's in and I'm in.
Hey, that counts. Frosty, that counts.
I haven't seen anything said in it in a long time, but yeah, like I could say something if I wanted to.
Okay.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been following all of the information on Path of Exile 2, including
as much as I can? There's so much cool stuff coming, and I'm sure I've missed something, but like as much as I can. And I got to play it at Gamescom, which was like a lot of fun.
I know, I was standing right next to you. Yeah. Why can't I mount my Raptor? Don't clip that out of context either, Frosty.
I might.
It would be like it's not a domesticated animal, and it can't understand. As soon as you mount it, it just freaks out instinctually and just bucks you off.
In Jurassic World, it follows Owen on the motorcycle. So I mean, movies have shown that they can follow directions. And PoE 2, you're going to be able to jump on that bird thing and ride it around and shoot.
I mean, that's Hollywood for you, right? What are you gonna do? It's not so unrealistic, like showing dinosaurs like that. Ugh.
Will sounds ever be added as an option to the loot filter system?
I sure hope so.
Okay, then what is a Primal Hunt endgame event?
Oh, I actually don't know. That's one that I can honestly say I do not know what that will be.
Is Canada a real place?
Only to Canadians.
Do you get Last Epoch cosmetics for free?
Yeah, I do, yes.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Have you played Diablo?
I worked for years for nothing. This is before the Kickstarter and during the Kickstarter. I feel like I earned it.
Have you played Diablo 4?
Yes.
What do you rank it 1 out of 10, 10 being the best?
I don't think I've played it enough to give a comprehensive review of it.
That's a safe answer.
But my personal enjoyment level when playing, I'll give it a solid 7.5.
Do you think it was a smart idea to nerf minions based on a build where you can only level to 25?
So this is why I assume we're talking about Diablo again. I don't actually know the context of this because I wasn't playing any minion stuff.
In general, is it a good idea to nerf something based on a build where you're not even at the end game?
I think it can be. I think that the process of getting to the end game has real consideration that needs to be done on it, and so yeah, I think that can be done. I think that can be a smart thing. I feel like with more information and context, this probably wasn't a good idea when it happened.
Oh, they reverted the changes, so
4 seasons later. Mike, if you did not respond to Judd's Reddit post about wanting to create the next great action RPG, where do you think you would be today?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I was when I first responded to his post, I was about not quite a year out of university and had applied for hundreds of jobs at that point, quite literally. And I just got a job right at the same time as he replied. I actually got a real job coding. That company doesn't exist anymore, so I think I'd have like a normal software job is likely what it would be. Like working on like some, I don't know, transit systems software or something. I don't know.
Got it.
Makes sense. What is your favorite curse word?
I really like the fake curse words from The Good Place. Like they would say, "Oh, forking shirt balls."
Forking shirt balls.
Yeah, where she like can't swear because she's in heaven.
Don't let me forget that one. That's a good one. Diablo 4 has recently given every single player a puppy that you can pet. This puppy also will pick up your gold and your crafting materials for you.
I saw that.
Is there a chance in the future that the pets inside of Last Epoch will do anything other than follow you 2 screens behind?
I mean, there's always a chance. The D4 pet change to those things has not impacted our decision to do what we're doing with our pets.
But it could change in the future.
It might. I really hate hard closing doors on things like this.
Okay. I'll rephrase. So it used to be hard no. Is it now like a 50-50 and up in the air, or is it still like a no, 90% no?
I don't think we've even talked about it since that came out. Like I don't think we've even had that conversation.
Okay. Frosty, what else do you got?
Okay, I had something on the sigil system, but we already went over that.
Sorry if there's loud noise right now. That's my garage door opening and closing.
I've got another one if you want.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Is it possible for EHG, even if it was an NPC or a small enemy, to add Diablo into the game so that EHG can have the ultimate troll to Blizzard that Diablo's in Last Epoch before Diablo 4?
No. I think that would be pushing. I think that'd be going too far. I think that would be going too far. I think that like how the whole concept of demons being the primary antagonist is so deeply entrenched in the DNA of Diablo as a series that I think they've got that on lock.
Will group play affect the new boss that's coming out? Will it be easier, harder? Is there any adjustments for that? And what is the boss's name one more time?
Yeah, like the boss. Oh, I don't know. My mic just cut out there. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. But I think that a well-oiled machine of a group will have an easier time with the boss fight, but there's at least one mechanic that I know will make it harder in a chaotic, disorganized group. If you've got everyone running every which way and no one's paying attention and everyone's making mistakes, those mistakes will make it harder for everyone. And so like if you're in a group, it should generally overall be easier because you are able to like buff each other and things like that. And there's like it's pretty easy to get some solid synergies going on.
Along that line, let's just say all things are equal as far as the power and gear of the character. Going into the Pinnacle boss, is it easier as a ranged character or a melee character? Again, let's just say it's equal, skill and everything.
That's a really hard question to answer. I don't know for sure. I think it would probably be a tiny bit easier as a ranged character. I say that and then I'm like, but then there's this other thing that I'm like, it makes it harder. I don't know.
So you're saying it's pretty close.
It should be very close. There are times where if you're standing really far at range, you'll be dead.
Right.
Like you'll just be dead.
Well, that's a little leak right there. Okay.
Will these bosses be on a 6-hour timer so no one can play them, or a 3-hour timer so just some people can play them?
What? Oh, sorry.
I didn't know you were gonna ask. That's a good one.
I got so confused that they're on a very very specific algorithm. It's like square root of -1 timer.
Got it. Any
All right.
chance masochist mode comes back into the game, or are you just going to roll with the boots?
It's possible. We've had mixed response on the boots. I think. I'm not 100. I don't think we. I know we don't have any plans to change it for 1.1.
Okay.
And I know there's some debate on if the boots were a success or not. Still.
Okay. Will the dodge mechanic have charges? You can do multiple in a row, or you have one?
Evade has 2 charges to start with.
Okay.
To
To
start with,
how do you get more?
I don't know if there's any way to get more.
Okay.
I don't think there's any way to get more.
Oh, that's sick. Chat likes it. All right. I don't have any other hard-hitting questions.
I'm out as well. You
All
did
right.
a
Let's
pretty good
switch
job.
to our second leak of today's stream. And welcome, Raiders. I saw you. Let's get back to the leak. All right. EHG has provided 2 Cycle 2 leaks for this podcast. Thank you so much. The first one was on Shield Bash, actually being able to do damage. So that is pretty exciting. And don't forget, if you are watching on Twitch, we're going to give away a free copy of Last Epoch at the end of the podcast. Type in !giveaway into the chat. All right, let's get the second leak out here for Mr. Mike to break down for us. Make sure I don't click on the wrong picture here. All right.
I just realized that I could just make your screen large instead of just seeing this tiny little box, so I can see it no problem now.
Well, this one I can't make it. There you go.
All right, so this is a passive node. If you look at the bottom, it says exactly where it is in the tree. I think it's on Sorcerer 20? Spellblade 10. Super duper wrong. Good job, Mike.
Spellblade. People were asking about Spellblade earlier.
Yeah, so this is Spellblade 10, 10 points. So you can get access to this from any Mage Mastery. And it is a threshold node. So a lot of people have been asking for more threshold nodes on other masteries. So we are adding those in. You're going to see lots more of those. They should be at a ratio roughly similar-ish to key nodes in skill trees. That's sort of the vibe. So this one is an 8-point node. Incinerating Aura. Your fire auras from all sources deal damage in a larger area. This also gives you +1 intelligence per point and 15% increased fire area per point. And then at 5 points threshold, your fire auras from all sources deal additional spell damage per 2 points of intelligence. So 1 damage per 2 intelligence. Yeah.
What is so interesting about this, Mike, is that I could already see it in chat 'cause it's the first thing I saw, is that this kind of unlocks the Righteous Fire gameplay. Is that the design mechanic behind it? Is that what was? Because I know EHG doesn't want like a no button or a no button build, or like you want us pushing buttons. Just kind of thoughts behind it.
Yeah. So it's not I think we're trying to incentivize active gameplay as a viable thing that is fun and is powerful. We know that some people like to have less active gameplay, and so we do try and still put those options into the game. And like sometimes they're sprinkled in ways that are maybe they're not super powerful, and there's other ways around it. I mean, the big example here is like the elemental weapon. That's not the right name for it. The magic weapon. The Spellblade has an ability that makes your weapon more powerful. And you activate it, you might as well be activating it on cooldown. Lots of people numlock it. There's a node in that tree that automates it. And the node is basically useless if you just take the numlock trick and do it. So yeah, we do like to have these, like some automation in there. And we do sprinkle them in from time to time. So we want fire auras, which was originally actually a skill of its own. It was part of the fire shield ability, which so fire shield had fire aura it's one of its primary damage sources. It was a little too passive for an active ability on your bar. So we pulled that out, replaced it with Flame Ward, put fire auras into the passive trees, and we are expanding the damage that it can do because we do want this is trying to reward players who are playing a Spellblade, getting up close and personal. They're dealing damage. That's the big defining characteristic difference between Spellblade and the other Mage Mastery, Sorcerer, and Rune Masters. It's not actually melee; it's short range. That's actually the distinction we try and make. So this is emphasizing this short range type of playstyle. So you are getting in close. This does increase the area, so it's less close than you need to be. But yeah.
Okay.
You know what this is gonna do. Everyone's gonna be running around, just crushing everything. Hey,
But
there
most
any-
of the ways you need to trigger fire auras do include an active playstyle. Most of the ways.
Okay. Is there any new unique coming out that's going to be augmenting this incinerating aura?
Not that I can think of right now, but I don't know all of them off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
All right.
I knew with probably not.
Okay.
Okay.
Mike, are you good for another 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody.
I'm pushing it.
Okay. Well, we'll go quick. All right, everybody. We're switching to the final part of the podcast, and this is questions for Mike. Put @Aaron and ask your questions for Mike. We're only going to be able to do a few because we are wrapping up right now. But I promised everybody that we would take some questions from the audience. So we're going to switch back to our intro scene.
It's a nice transition. I like that.
You like that one?
Yeah, I like that one.
Oh, thanks. All right. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers. Tacos. They either go. They just go everywhere. They crumble on me. I'm just. It's a mess.
Taco burgers is the answer. When will we get a horde of raptors?
A horde of raptors.
A horde of raptors. A Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park style. I don't know. Sorry.
Where bear? Yes, no, or maybe.
Where over there, bear?
My werebear. Oh, Guilty wants to know when he's going to get his were panda. He wants his were panda bear that he's asked you about for 5 years.
Different types of bears, I think, are on the menu for Skill MTX when we do get around to that. It's a little ways out still, but yeah.
Okay. Squirrel build, but for raptors, that would be awesome. Will we? Let's see. Dude, there's so many. There's so much chat coming in. I have a question. Will the engine ever be able to have summon corpses as minions? Like you guys are going through an engine upgrade right now to a.
You're talking about like G2 revive style, where like the
Correct.
actual like enemy stands back up and fights for you.
Yep.
This is the big problem we were having with the. This is why warlocks aren't a corpse based build. Is why we don't have this. This is the same problem. If we ever solve that problem, I'd say there's a good chance of us trying to do it because it is something that gets pitched. Anytime that gets pitched a lot internally. So if we ever solve the problem that's stopping us from doing it, I'd say there's a good chance it happens, but that problem is not actively being worked on. So
Okay.
Can we please get void squirrels?
no,
Everybody void everything.
that would be terrifying. I think I feel like that would be a freak. The squirrels, it's subtle right now, but when you activate their ability, like their eyes turn like red and fiery.
They do.
And like having that in like purple, I think that'd be sweet.
Right now, when you turn into Lich form, you are dual wielding, yet you cannot dual wield as a Lich. Is it the idea that I always hear is that Spellblade, there's a node farther in the passive tree that unlocks dual wielding. Is that a potential for a Lich in the future?
I would say the resolving that discontinuity is interesting for us, but I don't know how or when.
Okay.
Any adjustments to current dungeons or chance of new dungeons in the future?
Yes to both. There are there's some minor adjustments to dungeons that are coming, just to help with the flow, especially in multiplayer. And I mean like when there's more than one person in the party, not online, but yes, it does help with online as well. And new dungeons in the future, yeah. There's dungeons are tricky because there's conceptually and how they fit into the overall end game we're really happy with. They're just not quite clicking in the fun factor. So we're still working on dungeons, and we are definitely planning on adding more of them. That's another system similar to how we designed the almost said something I shouldn't say. Similar to how we designed the
Just
other
go
item
ahead.
factions.
No one's watching. Who cares?
Similar to how we designed the other item factions, we designed dungeons to be something that we expand and add more on down the road.
Okay. Do we get a Barb / Viking based on Mike in the future? So when we get our Barb mastery.
I mean, they've already done a version of me in. There was there's a screenshot somewhere of me from the Kickstarter video, and the original Primalist side by side, and it is me. Like they did use a picture of me to make that model originally, and it got completely redesigned, so it doesn't look like me anymore. But yeah, that one looks that one's dead on. And I'd love to, if we did another class. Yeah, I'll if anyone on the team wants me to pose for something like that. Oh yeah, I'd love to be in the game.
Awesome.
All right, a last question for me. For anyone who is trying to start to grow out facial hair, what tips do you have for them?
It's going to be itchy, so get used to that. Get a beard comb, which I'm plugged into with headphones, and I will rip them out if I go get it. But just a simple, basic wooden beard comb. And if you want like shower, wash it, keep it clean. And get some like really simple oil. You can get some jojoba oil. It's like JOJOBA, and that's a carrier oil that's super cheap. And you get like 3 drops of like, I don't know, bergamot and other things like that. You can like make it smell nice, but just like the basic oil to keep it from. I have really bad beard drift, or used to anyways. When it was especially when it was coming
drift.
In. Beard drift, like dandruff,
I got you.
your beard.
Word of the day.
I couldn't wear a black shirt to save my life for like 3 years.
Okay. Final question, then the giveaway, Mike. What happens if you fail the Pinnacle fight? How easy is it to restart it, similar to Monolith bosses, or farm the entry from scratch?
I can't tell you that right now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna end on a disappointment and just be like, I'm just opting right out of that question. It's mostly because it's not 100% set in stone yet. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think there is going to be a penalty for losing that fight. There is a penalty for it. It's not just like, oh, just go back into the door. Oh, just go back in and try again. There is some sort of penalty associated with that.
Okay. All right. Mike, thank you so much. Let's give away a free copy of your game, and then I promise you can leave. I have to show them. We have to switch scenes again. All right. Listen, I say this over and over again. I apologize to everybody watching on YouTube and everybody watching on X. Unfortunately, the way the giveaway works is it's only run through Twitch. I don't do it on purpose, and if I'll try. I got to figure out a way to change it. As long as you are following the channel on Twitch, type in !giveaway into the chat right now. You have a 60 seconds to do it, and we are giving away a free copy of Last Epoch. How often do you have to maintain your beard? Is that like an every morning routine kind of deal?
Just a sec.
Here comes the comb.
Here comes the comb.
I used to spend a lot more time on it, and once it sort of hit critical mass, it stopped being a pain and kind of just handled itself. This is all I do. Normally it sits beside my table, and I just lazily will.
That's it.
That's all I do now. And like I shower
so
and
easy.
Of
like
course.
shampoo my beard when I shower. Like I treat my beard like hair when I shower, because it is. But that's regular shampoo and this. That's it.
Maybe he's born with it.
Frosty, we're gonna have to track your beard growth, seeing as this is like, we'll count this as like a day one and see where we can get that to.
Yeah, I got to get that oil name again.
You know?
Jojoba.
Jojoba, okay.
Jojoba. It's
All right.
JOJOBA.
Starting the countdown right now. Type in !giveaway into the chat. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And entries are closed. And today's winner of a free copy of Last Epoch, $35 value, is click UFF What do you think, Mike?
SCHNITT1.
Correct. It's not
Yes.
rigged. Everyone's looking at him. Well, you are the winner of a free copy of Last Epoch. You don't have to be present to win, but you do have to claim your prize. So join the Discord and I can get you your copy. All right. Mike, what a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for doing this today. It was an absolute blast, and you're a good sport. I even made you rank D4 1 out of 10, and you gave a number. I thought you were gonna for sure like plead the fifth on that one. So, it's
completely subjective for just how much fun I had playing it, and I'm still I haven't. That's one that like I feel like I don't have enough time to play as many games as I want to. Like the backlog of games that I have is just so insane. And like, it's on my list of like, I'm gonna set up a time and like one season, and I'm just gonna like go real hard on it.
Got it.
I think part of the reason is I just haven't. I've never killed Duriel still. Like that's how little I've played.
Well, it only takes one hit, so you don't have to worry. It's not
Close.
super.
You're a barbarian or necromancer.
I also didn't follow any sort of guide at all. I just went in completely blind. So
Frosty can give you some tips on Fireball, which way to take the skill. It's very hard to decipher, so
Too many options. Like they need to cut that down.
Yeah,
he can help with
just
that.
get lost in the sauce.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to switch over back to my regular stream and just get some feedback from chat. Frosty and Mike. Frosty, if you want to jump into chat. And Mike, thank you so much. All right. See you guys later. Podcast done.